So when we look at the challenges at hand and why Revit was the solution, there's 4 basic Revit principles that we put into play when coming up with this solution. Those being accountability, accuracy, consistency, and flexibility. When you look at accountability between the elevator consultant, the specification documents, and cut sheet provided from them, now to the ownership of the architecture model at KPF, to then the distributed schedule, there needed to be a very high level of accountability that existed between all the players involved. So at any given point in time, these 5 medias needed to match. When we get into the accuracy, in a little bit, we're going to look at the elevators and the way that they were created. And they were created as a smart family, so that once the family was created and the schedule was set up properly, you would now just have the task of placing the elevators into the model, then operating a self-populating schedule so that you, at any click in time, would know exactly how many elevators were in fact in the model, as well as every specification that was needed either on the architecture side or the client side to be used. The consistency was a very big, it was a very big thing that they needed. As you can see, 90 elevators, and that's just between Tower A and the retail podium. This also spans the other parts of Hudson Yards, which are Tower C and the Plaza platform. And so we utilized the same solution and implemented it across several yards on the overall Hudson Yards project, which once this was developed, we saved a ton of time and cost for the client because we weren't reinventing the wheel. In order to make sure that what we were delivering was what they needed, we had very intense several conversations with the project managers to discuss lessons learned from previous projects, discuss the goals and the intentions of the Revit families, the schedule, and the level of distribution and what the deliverable was going to be once this was done. By taking the time to talk about the lessons learned and to actually plan out this process, we were able to start this venture at a much higher level than ground zero, which was very much ideal. Flexibility is the last part that we looked at. As mentioned before, there's a lot of design changes, restacking of the building. I think, I've personally restacked this building, I believe, 7 times in Revit, which is no small feat. So the flexibility of being able to change the families, change the schedule in terms of size, type, areas of usage, parameters, new parameters, taking out old parameters, everything really needed a very quick turnaround rate, not only because of the size of the building, but the schedule that the team was under because it's a steel fast track building. So when we get into the BIM and Revit overview and how we planned on implementing Revit into their workflows, as we looked at Revit and what the end goal and deliverables were, we incorporated a series of Revit tools and family organization into the team's workflow that helped us resolve this challenge. Some of the main tools and workflows that we utilized were nested families, shared parameters, and sizing flexibility. This was in order to minimize the overall number of families needed and to really focus on utilizing the types so that this would help with the maintenance and overall organization of the in-house library. When we looked at having 90 elevators, we tried really hard to break them down into smaller groups so that we wouldn't have 90 different families, and we would have the families working smarter for us and be flexible in the sense that 90 different elevators really got down to about 15 to 20 different families, which was a much more manageable scale. So in the tools that we used, when we look at what was the software able to do for them, it was a very, very successful run in order to get this solution. And what ended up happening was significantly reducing the tracking time and review time in relation to elevator consultant specs and cut sheets coming into KPF for review, KPF reviewing them, and being able to send comments back, and then to distribute and deploy these in the actual construction documents to go out to bid for contractors. We did the modeling, the scheduling, the diagramming, and then also achieved a very specific, desirable graphical representation of all 90 elevators, and the way that graphically, how does an active tab show versus an area of bypass versus an overrun. Therefore, overall, really streamlining the transfer in, transfer out process from start to finish, from elevator consultant to design team to contractor. So part of what BIM and Revit really helped us do was take about 5 or 6 different players in this and really bring this down into one very streamlined process with very quick turnaround, that when we look at the CA phase that we're in now, and we still have elevator changes, from the time that change comes through KPF stores, it can go back out in a drawing construction document set in less than 1 day, really in just a few hours. So with that, let's jump into Revit and look at a couple of examples of these elevator families and schedules and what was set up.